and they look like favorites.
This is my lock of the week.
Dodgers.
No. But don't do this.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Vegas Sports Panel. I'm Devin. He's Bob. Today we're going to be talking about the college football matchup, the Final Four. All right? First one we're going to start with is going to be the Cotton Bowl. Okay, played in Dallas. It's going to be Alabama versus Cincinnati. Alabama's given up 13.5. I mean, you would think, okay, Alabama, that should be fine. Since he's been playing real good here lately, Bob. Do you think they deserve being there, first of all? And what do you think of the game?
I was rooting for Cincinnati to get into this playoff, so I'm very happy for Cincinnati. They deserve it. There was a lot of parity in college football this year, so anybody who says they don't deserve to be in the top four and get in this playoff is crazy to me. They definitely deserve to be in the top four, and I was rooting for it all year. They're going to get rolled by Alabama. Alabama's a 13.5-point favorite. They lost one of their wide receivers in their last game in the SEC championship game, but they're going to roll Cincinnati, and it's kind of a thanks for showing up, Cincinnati, but there was nobody else we could have really picked. Notre Dame might have given them a better game, but Notre Dame lost to Cincinnati, so they couldn't obviously put them in there over Cincinnati. Right. Cincinnati's undefeated. They've only lost one game in the last 2+ years.
Right.
So Cincinnati gets in the bowl. They get their shot. Unfortunately, they got to play Alabama, and Alabama's going to cover the 13.5, and they're going to roll Cincinnati, and that's why the whole college football playoff is being restructured within the next couple of years.
Especially the way that Alabama's been playing the last two games to finish off their season.
Yep.
They really kind of came back into their own. They started showing like, you know what, this looks like the best team in the country. You know, Georgia was really good through the whole season. But once they played Alabama, it's almost like, wow, you just kind of go, you know what, Alabama could look like crap the first half, not be able to score. But just because the coaching and the way they're the will to win, and they're just so not used to losing.
Yeah, and Alabama had a couple of scares this year where they had to come back. I forget what game they were losing, and they just come back. They shouldn't have even been in the SEC championship game, but they came back.
Right, the one right before Georgia.
Yep.
And
then they whipped up on Georgia in the SEC championship game, and the last few years, Alabama, Georgia has been like a big brother, little brother scenario. Like, right. I'm not sure Georgia's quite there yet, but Alabama's going to whip up on Cincinnati.
So you're thinking more than 2 touchdowns probably. This is probably being nice.
I think Alabama puts it on ice early, and it's like a nice to be there. Well, maybe not so early. Cincinnati's going to have all that adrenaline,
right?
You know, the first 10 minutes of the game until they see who they're playing against and just realize none of their stuff works. But the Cincinnati quarterback has been climbing up the draft board, so he's got a lot to show. So Hopefully he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And I'm just rooting for a good game, but I don't think it's going to be one. I think Alabama blows Cincinnati out of the water in the Cotton Bowl, and
Cincy needs some turnovers at the optimum time, and they need Alabama to beat themselves a little bit.
They need everything to go right.
Right. It needs to be the perfect storm in their favor for them to even be in the
which
in
could
the game.
always happen.
Exactly. Exactly.
Any given Saturday, as they say in college football. I don't think this game on a Saturday. I don't know. I know it's New Year's Eve. Is that a Saturday?
I think that's Friday. Yeah.
But it's Cincinnati's going to have a tough road to climb, but I think Alabama covers outright, and it's kind of a blowout by the time you get to the third and fourth quarter.
But I tell you what, I don't know how many are coming back on Cincinnati just to kind of close this game out. But if they can look good even against Alabama, play well, maybe get a win, or if not, look like they belong, I tell you what, that would go a long way in recruiting and also coming into their confidence for next year, I think. I don't know, are they losing their quarterback?
They're losing their quarterback, but the big thing is it'll open it up for other schools.
Right.
There's been a lot of schools that aren't in the Power 5 or whatever they call it,
right,
that never get a shot. That'll go into, like, Coastal Carolina, go undefeated for 3 years, never get a shot. Boise State back in the day,
right,
you never get a shot because we just know you're just going to get destroyed.
Right.
If Cincinnati can stay close and hang in there, it opens the door for every other school out there to have that dream,
because they're not going to be scared to schedule them.
Well, and just like the NCAA tournament, there's the 64, 68 teams now. That Cinderella story, like, every school at the beginning of the year has a chance to win the national championship.
Right.
And in college football, that hasn't been the case. And if
Right.
Cincinnati gets blown out, that might be out the door.
Yeah.
But if they hang close, then they'll be like, oh, okay, we could put Cincinnati in one of the Final Four bowl games. We could put a Houston.
Right.
We could put a Coastal Carolina. You know,
Without worrying about the ratings and stuff, just being like,
some of
God.
these smaller schools might get more of a chance
Right.
at the big prize.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's go to the Orange Bowl. The other one, Georgia at Michigan. Georgia's -7.5. This is on the 31st as well. Georgia looked like they could almost, you know what, they look better than Alabama pretty much all the way through. I'll say that.
The whole season.
But I tell you what, though, when they lined up, it's almost like, here we go again.
Big brother, little brother.
You know, and it's always like, wow, but the little brother's been in the gym. He looks good. He looks all season. He's been looking fast. He's healthy. He's got all of his players, or all of his, and then all of a sudden it's just the same old thing, man. It kind of takes. I mean, not that you don't want to watch it because you just you're a fan. You're going to watch, but I don't know. What do you think of this game going in?
I'm looking at the other side of the coin. Michigan has had like a dream season. They beat Ohio State for the first time in however long.
How nice was that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, at least for them. Ohio obviously didn't like it.
Well, yeah. I mean, they were underdogs in that game. I'm pretty sure they were underdogs against Michigan State, their in-state rival. They won that game. I think it was a close spread against Iowa. They beat Iowa when Iowa was hot. I think they beat Wisconsin. I mean, Michigan, it's a dream season for them. And nobody saw them here. They were talking about firing Jim Harbaugh if they had a mediocre season. And here they are in the Final Four, and they're going to get smashed by Georgia. Georgia's a 7.5-point favorite. Georgia's came off that bad loss against Alabama. They want the rematch in the national championship game. Georgia's going to leave no doubt as well against Michigan. And in my opinion, we're going to have a rematch of the SEC championship game, Georgia against Alabama. And we'll get to that. But yeah, Michigan's had a dream season, but it's going to come up short.
Yeah, I don't know, though. I mean, at the same time, we were talking about Cincinnati making a good showing. If Michigan could somehow come back and be in rare form, and Georgia maybe is just once they got knocked off their pedestal a little bit and got brought down to earth, maybe now they're not so sure of themselves either, or even if they get ahead, or it's just, I don't know. I just think when you start, putting a little bit of doubt in their minds, and Michigan has to play well, obviously, because neither one of them are going to be at home, so, but it's, probably Georgia fans will travel to Miami a little bit better maybe than Michigan. But I don't know if they divide it 50-50 or is it I don't know how they do that ticket wise. I'm sure they'll sell out, but. And
I might be giving Georgia a little too much credit here.
Okay.
Georgia, for the week leading up to the Alabama SEC championship game, they knew even if they lost that game,
right,
they were going to be in the Final Four.
Right.
And they probably figured we're probably going to see Alabama again,
right, in
the championship. Maybe they didn't show all their cards. Maybe they played.
I think that's a good possibility.
Maybe they played vanilla. Let's not show anything. And then when it really matters.
Right. Because that's what you're playing for, the championship. Yeah. You're not playing for the 10th game.
They knew they were in. They could lose to Alabama in that SEC championship game. They were still in.
Yep.
So maybe they saved a couple of cards up their sleeve.
And like we were talking, actually,
to give them some credit,
right? But as we were talking the week that they were playing, a few weeks ago, that if Alabama won, okay, which meant Georgia lost one, so they're back down a little bit. Mm-hmm. Alabama's up a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now, would they put them against each other early, or would they put them against them to have to play somebody to get to that final game? And obviously, they did it to where, they know who the two best teams, I think, in the country
They definitely didn't want to have a repeat early. Two games in a row. I don't know. I hope I'm not giving Georgia too much credit, because the flip side of that coin is that Georgia could have just knocked Alabama out of it completely.
Right.
If they
could have just stopped on their throat and just been
if
done
they
with
just would have won that SEC championship game, Alabama.
So why wouldn't you? Why would you hold anything back? So that's actually a good point too.
Yeah.
You made some good points there. Yep. Absolutely. All right, guys. We didn't want to do all the bowl games because some of them aren't going to get played. Some are going to change. Some, like Ohio State, 4 players already decided they didn't want to play.
I don't know. I think a lot of these games are going to get canceled this week. So we've been picking in the last 2 weeks, and I think we're up to 5 cancellations already, and they're some of the games are rescheduling against other opponents.
And COVID's just kind of climbing a little bit, so I expect that to go up a little bit. So.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of these games are going to get played this week, and I feel bad for the seniors
Right. That's a good point.
that aren't going to go to the NFL. Guys who are going to the NFL.
This is their, like, you know.
You live another day, and you might have opted out of the game anyway if you
might be a little healthier.
Get drafted.
Sure.
But yeah, the seniors who aren't going to go to the NFL and this was going to be your last game, man, I feel bad for you guys. And
maybe your last chance to show that you might deserve to go to the
deserve. Yeah, you know? put anything else you can put on film that you look good.
Right. But anyways, that's why we went ahead and we figured everybody's going to be interested in these two games and, you know, obviously the Final Four. So if we missed your bowl game, we're sorry about that. We'll pick it up next year. Make sure you're getting subscribed. We appreciate you watching. See you next time.